Hello guys, this is your friend and we are back with a new fanfic. Which is what if Naruto became Samui's forbidden desire she couldn't hide anymore. Part 1. And if you enjoy this fanfic then please press the like button and subscribe to my channel for more fanfic like this. And now let's start the fanfic. In Konoha at 8:30 p.m., Samui was a member of her team who about to leave from training. She had beautiful blonde hair, and Big who also has a girlfriend named Karui. Samui sighed and stretched, leaning back against the counter, picking up her bags with a rolling eye as she listens to her friend Omoi. What is going on with you and Naruto? Samui friend responded. Omoi couldn't deny that, but something was going on with the ninja and Samui. Omoi could see it in the way Samui looked at Naruto in the picture, and they stood so close together when Naruto come by the school talking to Karui so she can apologize for beating him up, which Karui wouldn't listen. Samui put her arm around Naruto's shoulder. He knew all this because she had seen this before. Nothing is going on with Naruto and me, Omoi. Samui lies in thought. She couldn't take the risk of anyone finding out the truth. Not her own team and A-san and her girlfriend. Samui was cheating on her girlfriend with Naruto. One day Samui comforted Naruto at his house. She saw him crying on the bed, mumbling about a fight with him and Karui that beat him up badly. They were fighting over Karui. Naruto tells Karui don't even do this and he doesn't want to hurt her by killing Karui, but the red-haired didn't even listen. She had beat him up, punched his face so hard in anger. Naruto's face was bruised with marks that night as its tears ran down. A cute dropped down to his chin. Shish, it's alright, Naruto. Samui took a handkerchief from the inner pocket of her jacket and gently whipped his face with bruises on. She remembers telling Naruto, "Hey, you hold up against my girlfriend. You're still alive." Thanks Samui. I just let her hit me. If I would have fight back I'll kill her, but she didn't have to hit me so hard. Naruto sighed, breathing heavily. Samui frowned at that memory, mad that her girlfriend had to beat him up because she wanted to know where is Sasuke at. The next thing she recalled, she was in his arms, passionately kissing him and working on Naruto's shirt, crawling into his lap. Her tongues were fighting for dominance. Omoi blinked and gave his friend a deadpan look. An affair ain't no easy thing, he continued. It can destroy everyone around you, including yourself. You need to think about it and wonder if it's worth it. And so does Naruto. Samui shook her head a little too, trying to come up with a story, her denial a little too strong. Nothing is going on. I am not going to leave Karui. This is not a fling. I'm completely in love with my girlfriend. I have a very great household, and you need to mind your own business, Omoi, about my love life. Samui declared openly, ignoring further eye contact. The boy hoped he was able to get through to his teammates and friends. Okay, I get it, I'll keep my mouth shut for now. But don't think that it's going to go away anytime soon. You have a girlfriend. What will A-san think of you? It will get worse. Whatever it is you two got going, stop it, he warned as he tossed his cup into a nearby trash can and walked away, leaving Samui behind to think about what Omoi said. Samui began walking in the opposite direction towards the exit of school. She felt the vibration of her phone and heard the ring of a bell, alerting her of a new text. Taking it out of her pocket, she unlocked the phone to read the message. Samui, meet me in Hidden Leaf East Hotel. Room 205. Samui didn't have to do this. It was only supposed to be a one-time deal, a one-night stand with Naruto, who she comforts him from Karui beating him up, though she'd told him it could never happen again. But no, she wanted more of Naruto. The sweet look of Naruto, every cooking he made man, every text message in private, the late-night meeting in the hotel where they'd meet in secret to have. Every time she saw him, she folded herself into his arms and they watched a movie together. And every time she left the hotel room, fastening an earring and hopping on one foot as she put on her shoes, saying, "Same time next week, Naruto." Samui announced. Naruto charming self pull a portion of her heart wanted more of Naruto. Her girlfriend was a fool for not apologizing to Naruto. Samui couldn't help herself see Naruto all over again. She took another look at the text. Hidden Leaf East, Room 205. They hadn't slept together since Team 7 had been on way too many missions. Tonight Naruto team wasn't on any mission today. Taking a deep breath to calm her nerves, she made a call. Hey Samui, how about a date tonight? Karui answered with a smile in her voice. The guilt weighed heavily on her. I'm sorry, A-san called me for a meeting, dear, he wants only me to talk business. I will have all night, she asked. Okay, Samui, tell A-san say hi, Karui said on the other line. She forced herself to frown, but she felt like shit. Okay, I'll see you later baby. She hung up before the redhead could say anything else. She could still change her mind. She could go home to her girlfriend and see Karui, have dinner with her girlfriend. She could smile and deceive that everything was okay and that she was still happy in their relationship. She could make love to her girlfriend tonight after dinner and try not to think about Naruto she wanted. She could go home. Samui waited to hail a cab on the sidewalk, pacing back and forth. Her car was in the shop getting fixed. Once the taxi pulled over, she opened the door and settled in the back seat. Where to, ma'am? Asked the driver. Take me to Hidden Leaf East. / Hidden Leaf East Hotel. Despite her apparent nerves, she knew at that moment. She was making the right decision. She and Naruto were going to have again. He booked them the penthouse suite on the top floor in East Hotel. She quickly entered the elevator with a few other guests and pushed the button for the suite. Now she was going to sleep with one of the sweetest men she had ever met in her life. The elevator finally dinged for her floor. Exiting, she headed to the front of the door for the suite. Taking a calming breath, she slipped the key card into the door and pushed it open. She shut the door behind her and walked into the suite. Her eyes widened in surprise at the room. It was lovely, luxurious, and reminded her of French, spotting a couch. The colors were white. She couldn't believe Naruto booked this suite for them for only one night since he was working at Reman. The room is different than what they usually get, more significant. They'd done this before, anyway, spent long nights in bed together, in one another's vicinities. It was the glory of having an affair. Samui was so caught up in staring at the hotel space that she didn't notice Naruto standing before her. I wasn't sure you were going to come, he said. He was standing before her, looking at him and casual in his usual orange pants and his orange shirt. Naruto smiles at her. I'm here. We're both here. We made this decision to be in a relationship. Naruto stopped in front of her and held her gaze and capturing her lips in a kiss as her arms came up to wrap around his neck. He pulled her tightly to his chest, and their kiss grew hotter. Samui clamped his shoulders when his hands came down her sides before gripping the edge of her coat she was wearing. He slowly slid it up until he had it over her head and on the floor, kissing her slow as his hands moved up and down her back. Pleasure ran through her body. Naruto backed her up until she hit the wall. She hooked a leg around his waist and pulled him close. Her hands carded through his short blonde hair. This belt has to go, Samui told him, tugging on his belt buckle as his pants fall, showing his spotted white boxers. She gentle cupped the back of his head with her free hand, she sighed. And Naruto me. Don't keep a lady waiting. Naruto didn't need to be told twice, grabbed her bottom with both hands, and hoisted her up, moving them toward the bed. 30 minutes later, she couldn't control the volume of her voice as she became louder, crying out his name when he hit the right spot of her. Yes, yes. Naruto dropped his head to her shoulder as they both came down, loving the feeling of her in his arms, wrapped around him, slick, sweaty skin skating across slick, sweaty skin. Samui was, and so was Naruto lying in bed together panting. The TV was blasting, and the warmth eases the ache in her muscles. Samui sighs loudly, letting her head drop against his chest. A few strands blush his face, and Samui runs her mouth along his neck. The way she comforts him felt right. So, she starts, yawns. Naruto grins boyishly. I wore you out, Naruto said with a chuckle. You did, Samui agrees, and Naruto smirks into her skin, running his hands along with her big. You like, she teases. I do. He grin. Samui sinks deeper into his chest, smiling on the after. I don't understand what a loser like me is doing with a pretty lady by my side. I am not a babe magnet, not a hottie like Sasuke. Samui, poking his thigh with her nail. Naruto, you are loyal, honest, and sweet. You face villains on missions and you're a good ninja. You are a true gentleman to me. You, not a loser. I sorry, Samui, it's just I had a hard time at school today. He frowned. So it's your school problems. Yeah. She leans in and kisses him on the lips. Soft, quick, like a habit. Being with Naruto was perfect when she's in his arms. It's comforting. Samui licks her lips and leans back a little, studies the white ceiling. They have the hotel room until morning, but Samui can only stay another half hour, at the most. Her phone begins to sound off her girlfriend message. It goes straight to silent before she can even get up to get it. She groans loudly. I gotta go. It's Karui. Samui frowns, moving out of his hold to walk in the shower. Another beat up from Karui, Naruto thought. He sees her form through the glass shower, wet. With the water streaming down her body, she used the shower gel, rubbing the gel into her skin. Karui was going to beat him up again. He heard her turn off the water after some time. Samui dried herself and wrapped the white motel towel around her. She exited the bathroom, the small desk lamp light up by Naruto as Samui sauntered toward him, taking her place on his lap again. Her mouth captures his lips for one last time until they met again, snaking his arms around her, kissing her, and holding her for all he was worth, breathing her name into her skin. Samui's seduction took on a new level after she and Naruto got into a relationship. They have been together for 4 months now since her girlfriend beat up Naruto. They became something a little wilder, and she has been sneaking out the house to see her secret lover at Hidden Leaf East. Reminded of how badly she wanted to see Naruto, she would wake up in the middle of the night, sweating, a low buzz simmering through her body, as she remembered the feeling of his inside of her. His fingers digging into her sensitive skin, his mouth leaving hot, wet kisses all over her body. She could feel her boyfriend laying on the bed with her riding his like a mad woman with Naruto enjoying the view of Samui's front that's facing him with her big bouncing for him to enjoy. Are you enjoying watching me riding your Naruto? She yelled while making her hips go faster than ever before. Yes, he replied, thrusting his into her. So for the whole next week's pass, they have been non-stop and Samui couldn't stop thinking about Naruto. She liked comforting her boyfriend also, who been healing his scars that Karui gave him. In Naruto's room, it's full of love. She is also only seeing his hand are still broken. Naruto, is your hand okay? She gasped, touching his hands in concern. Let me clean off your Naruto hand, I can still see red bruises. She took out a napkin out of her purse. You don't have to worry about me, Samui, I'll be fine. Wiping the red bruise from his hands. Naruto, I'm worried. Let me clean you up first, she finally said, wiping his hand as her bounce. Thanks, Samui. The blonde smile at her. Samui could hear the whine voice in his tone, as she cleaned him up. The blonde girl remembers the next day after she came back from her training and went to the Leaf East Hotel. That shock looks in her eye when she saw her men in bruises from Karui. Flashback. Samui gazed up to see Karui beating up Naruto. She watched her beat down on him. He crashed to the wall and she punched him in the jaw. Naruto just stood there while Karui beat the blonde ninja up. Samui felt bad but couldn't do nothing. She watched her girlfriend lowered the blonde and began to punch Naruto face hard with blood coming out from his mouth. It took Samui a second to realize her girlfriend was beating up Naruto very hard. Blood was on her hands. She still could see Karui crush broke the blonde legs. She watched her girlfriend slowly struggle to defeat the seal. She saw her throw him on the wall hard that breaks his back. Next she step in stopping Karui. Karui, stop, you had enough, let's good. She said, looking back at a beat-up Naruto and watch her girlfriend nod and Team Samui disappeared by a smoke bomb. Next she went to check on Naruto to he's was alright. This might sting a bit Naruto, Samui warned by using a white cotton touched a rather nasty cut on his right cheek. She heard a slight hurt of breath as his eyes closed and his jaw clenched. She revoked her hand instantly, not to hurt him any extra, but he opened his blue eyes again and looked straight at her. I'm sorry, I should have fight back from Karui. Naruto, you did the right thing. If you were to fight her, you could have killed her. I know Samui, killing people isn't my style. Samui frowned before she reached for his face, noticing him tense up once she laid a hand against his other cheek. Try and relax, you're too tense, she said so she to clean the rest of his wounds. Samui couldn't help but gently run her fingers over his cut lower lip. She will reward him again when they get back to their hotel, noticing the dried blood along with the ripped tears of his pants. She frowned at him again but continued her work. Her eyes widened as she saw blood on his shirt. Flashback end. Samui took care of Naruto that day, as his face healed. The blonde girl was worried. At least Naruto was pleased with her visit, when they can have wild. She had vowed to be faithful to her girlfriend, but the blonde girl had been into an affair with the ninja seal. She lost the ability to trust her girlfriend cause she found a new boyfriend. After all, Karui never apologized to Naruto, which she told her girlfriend to apologize, who never listened to her. Then she remembers Naruto was worried that Karui would beat him up again if the red-haired dark-skinned beauty found out about his affair with Samui. Samui made the sacrifice to be with Naruto. Her friend and teammate Omoi has been giving her sly looks for days. Omoi had begun watching her in a way that said he knows something was up, might know more than he was letting on about her new relationship. She could almost feel Omoi eyes on her everywhere she went. It was indeed getting on her nerve. She feared not to get caught. Samui kept her interactions with Naruto strictly professional when others were around the village. She did her best not to flirt with Naruto in public, especially when he wasn't wearing his shirt on a hot day. She had a fantastic view of his body. Her affair had to play it cool proved highly challenging, though, and her life had become far too cliché in the past several months. She was sleeping with Naruto. She is sleeping with the enemy. Her life had become like a secret romance novel in the discount section of the grocery store. The secrets, the with a seal ninja man who was her enemy, but she loved it when Naruto thrust inside of her, her back arched into him. Her knuckles paled as she gripped onto the sink that following day in the Hidden Leaf Hotel East. She had hot with her lover before she went to training, and before Naruto arrives at his school for training, sometimes he skips school because he's been picked up because a girl beat him up. Next Samui loved his hand on her blonde hair, and instead tightly grabbed at her big. Naruto just keeps her as both are sweating, as they're having on the floor of the kitchen. Samui keeps moaning with her letting out its juices. The blonde ninja is playing with her even more, with Samui moans louder. Samui, like when he drove deeper into her, her body fell forward against the hotel's sink next. The countertops dug into her ribs, surely adding to the marks that would discolor her skin by late evening. Then her boyfriend her doggy style while holding on to her arms as both are on the sink. Samui keeps moaning when her big are bouncing back. Naruto. Yes'm, I-I-O, a shaky breath left her lungs, her ability to scream louder in the kitchen. Samui could get away with this. Don't hold back on me, with a blush and sexy look on her, and with that along, Naruto thrust his rough yet slowly into Samui's as she screams, gritting onto her teeth while trying hold on the sank. 2 weeks later. The gossip was all over the school about Naruto and in Karui as the pink hair walked through the door of the gym, an awkward frown fixed on her face, looking at a locker where a beating up bloody face of Naruto picture was on, words written, "The loser Naruto got beat up by a redhead dark-skinned beauty girl." Taking the picture off the school locker, Sakura ripped it and threw the white pieces in the trash. Naruto is so not a loser. He did the right things for not fighting Karui back, he would have killed her. Sakura growl. Word had spread quickly about Naruto and Karui big fight. Naruto just stands still while he let Karui punch his face and stomach. The girls stared at Sakura as she joined the group was a mixture of whispers, including one blonde-haired girl. Naruto is such a loser, Sakura. Ino grinned hatefully at the pink-haired. He has not shown up for training today. That loser has been ditching us. Sakura narrowed her eyes at her rival. Lay off Naruto, Ino. He is going through a hard time. Ino was not to be avoided. The whole school knows why Sakura. He got beat up by a red-haired girl. Who is Karui? Members of Team Samui. Sakura shivered at the memory. I hope you didn't bring that fight, Ino. Like seriously, why the school is still talking about Naruto and Karui fight? It has been months since then. I wish people would let it go. She stared at the blonde girl Ino, daring her to deny what she had said. Sakura. People give Naruto crap cause he's let a girl crush his face, he let Karui punch his stomach. Ino crowed. He could have at least do something, but that loser, just stand there and take the beating. Hinata and Tenten glanced at Ino, frowning at their friend's last sentence. They felt bad for what happened to Naruto. Sakura swiveled away, not wanting her rival to see the tear that was threatening to escape from her eye. She felt terrible about this whole Naruto problem. For once, her friend did the right thing for not fighting a girl who was looking for information about Sasuke. For once, Sakura was proud of Naruto not beating up a girl who he could kill her in a fight. She was happy for her teammate. She needs a break or clears her head about Naruto and Karui drama. Maybe this isn't a good day for a training. The rest of the girls nodded, expected for Ino. Okay, let's end our training, it's cancelled, but we are continuing tomorrow, we've got the ninja tournament to think about. As the girls storm out to the changing room, Sakura snatched in by the arm as she tried to pass her rival. Her eyes locked, who stared at the blonde girl. Ino's smile vanished when she saw the disgust in her rival's eyes. Ino, she warned, stop ditching Naruto, or you be beat up by me. Ino took a step back at her rival's voice. Sakura was threatening her. Haha, you can't beat me, Sakura, so what, like whatever, I can continue to talk shit about Naruto all I've wanted. He wasn't a loser coward when he was dating me, he wasn't a coward when I took his first time away when he got together last year. Wait, Sakura said cautiously. What did you mean the first time? Sakura, don't be an idiot, think. She didn't want to. Sakura knew she had already understood the clue. Did you and Naruto? Sakura mumbled before stopping. She couldn't even bring herself to speak the last phrases. The evil smile subsided Ino's face. I've taken Naruto virginity. He gave me his virginity when got together. He wasn't a coward and fighting to protect me when we were together, Sakura. Who wouldn't want some of this? Ino said as she turns around, giving Sakura a show, moving her blonde hair out her face. The hatred and disgust were inside Sakura that moment she lashed out a punch at Ino, and Ino falls on the gym floor. Her eyes were in horror as she watches her rival walk out of the gym, holding her face in pain. Hidden Leaf East Hotel. So good, Samui screams breathlessly, her eyes squeezed tightly closed in pure happiness. Oh, God, Naruto, that feels amazing. She moaned. As Naruto hoisted her up even higher on his waist to change an angle, he was driving into her, and Samui moaned into his mouth, gripping onto his shoulders to hold him as close as possible. Samui was feeling pleasure, who threw her head back as Naruto kissed her neck. Oh my she moaned. Naruto. She said with a virtually scream, causing her to move her hips in time with his, her fingers digging into his back, tightening her legs around her secret boyfriend waist and clutching her eyes closed as she reached her climax and wrapped her arms around his neck, kissed him passionately. It wasn't long before Naruto pulled out of Samui, and she groaned as the comfortable feeling of fullness left her body. Naruto grinned at a Samui, Her legs wrapped tightly around his waist and Naruto brushed a few strands of her blonde hair from her sweaty forehead. "Wow," she said finally. "That has been so good, Naruto." "I rock in the bed," Naruto started with a smirk on his face. "Damn, right you do rock," she started, running her hand down his chest and stomach, and stopping to rub his. Samui groaned as he attacked her neck with kisses again, squeezing her big butt roughly, before suddenly stop. Then she attempted to step down from the table, but her knees buckled, and Naruto caught her just in time before she fell to the floor. He supported her weight, lifting her and carrying her a short distance to the hotel couch. He placed her down on it, and he sat down next to her. The ninja leaned his head back and closed his blue eyes but soon felt Samui's body on his as she straddled him. The ninja held her tightly around the waist when she kissed his neck, leaving a bruise. Until she hears a cheer from the TV he had left on earlier that caught his attention. He turned his head so he could see the ninja game was going on. It were the Hidden Leaf Fox vs. Upperton Town Village Tigers. Hidden is winning by 17. The score was 17-0. The Ninja Leaf Fox are in the lead. Go the Foxes, yes. Naruto cheers. The broadcast announces team showing a replay of an unstoppable catch by their number 1 wide receiver, Jason Incredible. Samui felt he shift, pulled away to see her boyfriend eyes locked on the television. "Seriously, Naruto," Samui exclaimed, "you have a beautiful woman on your lap, and you're watching football." "Sorry, baby," he laughed, turning his attention back to her. "I got carried away. I do loves ninja sports, you know," he repeated, grinning at her. "Men," she muttered, shaking her head. "You guys all the same." He gazed up at Samui to see her staring back at him. He looked at her lips and couldn't seem to stop himself from grabbing the back of her head and pulling her face. Their lips met, their tongues tangling together, and Naruto could feel Samui's lips who she smiled into the kiss, making him smile, too. Samui ran her hands down her secret lover's arms, squeezing his stomach. He ran his hands gently down her back, over the body, before settling on her bare big. She could get used to this. Is it wrong to wish she didn't want her girlfriend anymore? Meanwhile, unknown lair. Tenten is chained up on a pink chair. The beauty girl got a call from Tsunade announcing she need to finally shine in her real mission. She left the gym after Ino and Sakura talk. Tsunade thought she was ready but she failed by being chained up. The darkroom light up. The first thing Tenten noticed, other than the fact that a lady face was sexy, and her lips covered in dark pink lipstick smirking. There's Fuka, wearing her dark pink and purple dress, that shows her exposé legs and arms. "Fuka, you're that villainous woman who faced Sakura and Naruto in the past. Sakura beat you up for kissing Naruto." Tenten smirked. "Funny, I've always had the upper hand on Sakura many times. Disappointed Naruto is not here to face me. I wanted to kiss him again. Sadly my plans has changed on Naruto. You'll fit just fine. Okay crazy lady, my team will so know I've been kidnapped, and when Suand, Sakura comes in, they going to beat your sorry butt. I will but I'm still learning." Tenten taunts. "Not tonight, my lair is far away from the hidden leaf. No way for your team will arrive now." Fuka smirk. Fear creeps into Tenten's body with a shiver. "What do you want with me?" Walking over to Tenten, Fuka reached out, sitting on Tenten's lap, her hands sliding over her smooth and soft skin. Fuka silenced her with a finger against her lips. "Since she cannot have Naruto, this will do. Oh, you be in for a surprise, girly." Her tongue brushing against Tenten's lips seeking entrance into her mouth. Tenten been so distracted she didn't notice Fuka pulling off her clothes until it was halfway down her body who she'd exposed Tenten's body as Tenten's eyes widened in shock feeling Fuka kissing her passionately. The next morning day, it was too much. Tenten couldn't take it, she just couldn't. It was too good, too amazing, too fashionable pleasurable. The ninja beauty girls was leaking with juice, and Fuka made a loud slurping sound with every withdrawal. Pressing her lips around her. For hours in the morning, it continued after what seemed an eternity. Tenten was utterly lost in pleasure. Tenten was still held kidnapped, and Fuka wouldn't leave her sight. Tenten needs to escape, but the ninja beauty moans with desire, with Fuka tonguing the length of her and up and over her. She could sense her companion was close to coming. A finger parted as Fuka circled the nub of her. The ninja beauty was writhing in pleasure, and she knew it was only seconds before her orgasm hit. Fuka squeezing her together, her thumbs finding her hard nipples, Tenten let wave after wave engulf her body. Arching her back from the bed to push her hot further onto Fuka, tonguing presently. Tenten, seemingly unable to do anything but joyfully scream for several very long seconds. All this drove Tenten pretty wild from Fuka touch. That cry of surprise quickly turned into a moan of pleasure, Tenten eye open as Fuka began on her nipple. Fuka lips were sliding all over the soft flash of Tenten tits. Fuka tongue gently flicks and then circles her nipple, driving Tenten crazy, where the female villain slid her lips all over those girls' body of flesh, using her hands to cup and massage them. What have we here? Fuka replied, moving her head down and slowly kiss up to one of Tenten's thick thighs and went lower. This is bad, I'm getting turned on. Tenten thought as she grabbed at the bedsheets with desire. Tenten didn't like girls, but Fuka made her feel good when she captured tonguing the length of her up and down on her as she let out a scream. Fuka lick me more. Fuka smirks, hearing Naruto friend scream as she continued with her work. Fuka had a talented tongue. Oh my gosh. Hidden East downtown. It was a beautiful night around 8:30 p.m. The ride to the restaurant district took about a half hour for Samui to meet Naruto in Hidden East Little City Town. They talk about going on a date with nobody from the Hidden Leaf to know them. Hello, how may I help you? My friend booked a table for two. I think he's already here. Should be under Naruto. Samui smiled and adjusted her tight dress as the hostess looked on the list in front of her. Ah, yes, Naruto-san is here, follow me. The waiter smiled as Samui shouted the waiter a look for Naruto name and headed through the tables. The restaurant was with little few people, consider being in a small town. Samui walks by with a shaking hip. She was in a sexy yellow dress, with a high versus neck, showing skin. The line in front of her versus neck chest opens up. The skirt finished just above her thighs that showed off all her curves. Samui was gorgeous tonight, her blonde hair was done, showing her smooth skin and legs. Something about her scream got it. She looked at ease, oblivious of the stares men and women around her were giving her the sexy look. Samui has Naruto, however, she kept her mind occupied when she walks. She was thinking about Karui, their fight purging her mind, and other more personal thoughts about her teammates Omoi. She and Karui fought this evening as she remembered. Earlier that evening in her house. Karui pouted, looking at her girlfriend was going out. Samui was putting on her normal clothes while she had a black bag next to her with a dress inside. The redhead dark girl watched her girlfriend look for her shoes. Do you have to go out tonight again? Karui knew the answer to her question, but she asked anyway. Samui just rolled her eyes. Honey, that's not the type to ask a stupid question. You know I have go to out, we been training non-stop, I need to go out and not be here, I'm not tired like you. She said. She was going out with Naruto tonight. Karui sighed, falling back on the mattress with a frown. Anyway, Samui baby, I wanted to hang out with you. We can always go out another night, I have other plans all line up, I'm busy. Karui frowned hearing her words. Samui trailed a finger along her shoulder, kissing Karui dark's cheek. Make sure to clean our room so I can get back here so we can have. Samui sighed looking at her girlfriend with a wink and picking up her bag. Sure, baby, Karui mumbled, watching her girlfriend leave the room, seeing her girlfriend already gone. For some odd reason, Karui thinks Samui was up to something. Back to the present. Stopping her thought, she'd been expecting Naruto had invited her out for dinner early when his school ends. She spotted him first, seated alone in the dining area with no one in the room. Some of the guest people were in front chatting or eating and watching Hidden Leaf Foxes on TV. Naruto was sat at a table at the very end, pulling at his tie in place. He looked handsome to her. When Naruto finally looked eyes on her, he stood so quickly he almost knocked his chair over. He smiled at her and motioned for her to have a seat in the booth. "Hi, you look beautiful," he said with a blush as the waiter gave Naruto a look. "Hi yourself, and thank you, Naruto." Samui smiled sitting next to him. "Would you like to order drinks now, or do you need a couple of minutes?" The waitress asked. "I have a juice, please. And a wine for me," Samui suggested. "Right away." The waitress nodded. Once they'd ordered their drinks and food, Samui got beef and soup while Naruto had a ramen, and they spent the next several minutes audibly enjoying their food, trading warm glances, and committing in beautiful small talk. The rest of their dinner passed quickly, each of them swapping stories from school and training. Naruto talks about his day. Samui looks at Naruto sitting in the booth. She could tell he'd made a real effort for tonight, and she could tell he was nervous. He was shaking, eating his food looking around. "Time to cheer my man up," Samui mind thought. Samui drank her wine, and from time to time, she would look at the seal ninja. She could see that he was looking at her too. Samui's smirk adjusted her yellow dress, making her big show a little more. Then she glanced at him and saw that he almost fall out of his booth by staring at her rather quickly. Samui giggled, and she knew she had his attention. He wasn't nervous. Samui has to be careful not to get caught. This night was perfect with her and Naruto hanging out. Catching her off guard, Samui hears people cheering. "Go, the Foxs, we are unstoppable this year." One random Hidden Leaf drunk guy yell. Samui rolls her eyes as the blonde girl glanced in the ninja direction, winking seductively. Samui shifted slightly in her seat as she drank her wine, and the blonde ninja could see that Samui's short yellow dress had gone up half her thigh. Then Samui opened her legs apart for him. Holy crap, his breath caught and fall on the floor. "Sir, are you alright?" A waiter came by the two. The blonde ninja boy nodded, and then he made his back to where he sat beside Samui. The waiter gave him a bottle of water. "Yes, sir, just slip old man," he advised. As he watched his girlfriend, she looked in his direction again and smiled as she had a couple of sips of her wine. "We're going to get caught, Samui," Naruto mumbled. His heart clenched at seeing Samui seductive him. Crap, he wanted her so much but can't kiss her in public. Someone from her team might be here to catch them, he has to be careful. He knew that on some level, she was teasing him badly. "Jesus, get a grip, Naruto." Samui slowly smiled, then pressed her lips together. He finally looked at her. He took in her soft smirk and the flirt of her body language. She gazed into his blue eyes a little longer before a reply. "Nobody is looking, Naruto," she whispered in her boyfriend's ear. "Ladies' restroom now." The blonde-hair woman stood up, and she made her way to the stairs to the second floor. She glanced at the blonde seductive. He saw her gazing at him, and he returned her stare. For a moment, the two of them just looked at each other. Their eyes locked were serious and lustful before continuing up the stairs. "Yes, time for some hot with Samui," he whispers. He got up fast off his seat. He pulled out his money clip and left some bills on the table, following Samui to the ladies' restroom. When he got to the ladies' bathroom, which was empty, he saw that she was waiting for him. Their gazes locked into each other with a smirk. Their lips crashed into each other. Samui let out a groan as she was roughly pressed against the bathroom wall by Naruto, and the blonde brought up one of her gorgeous legs, hooked it around the ninja waist, forcing Samui to close the bathroom door shut. A few hours later, back in Hidden East Hotel, coming back from their date. "Oh yes, Naruto." Samui arched her back in joy as Naruto pounded into her, and he grasped her waist, her thighs clenched around his hips tightly. With a groan, Naruto leaned forward, so his face was level with hers, still thrusting into her, and Samui moved her hands up to tangle her fingers in his blonde hair. With a moan, Naruto buried his face close to her neck. "Oh yeah, baby, I'm going to come," he gasped against the skin of her neck. Samui was breathless, her fingers twitching in his hair with a moan as the blonde pressed his lips to hers in a kiss, slamming into her hard. She couldn't help but enjoy it. Naruto manhood stretched her whole, moaning with each time their hips made contact. So good, Naruto." Samui moaned against his lips. She came. With a growl, the ninja moves forward a few more times before, coming hard inside of her with his condom on. For several seconds neither of them said anything, only exchanging panting breaths and gentle touches. The seal pressed his forehead to his lover. Both of them were in a warm afterglow of their second lovemaking. "Amazing," he gasped and finally rolled off of her and onto the bed, reaching down to roll his condom off and toss it away. "Your beauty going to be the death of me." Samui let out a giggle, rolling over, so she was cuddling up against her boyfriend's side. "Well, your sweetness is making me fall in love with you more and more. I had to drag you back to the hotel after our date." The ninja chuckled, wrapping an arm around her and pulling her tightly against him. "Very true, you were wild in the lady restroom," he acknowledged, leaning down and pressing a kiss on her forehead. Samui laughs as she leans against him, sliding her arm around his stomach as they cuddled in their second. "Naruto," she said with a close of her eyes, a smile on her lips. "I love this. I love us together." "Me too," he whispered, hoping Karui wouldn't found out. "I cannot get beat up again by Karui if she finds out I'm sleeping with Samui." Naruto thought. Samui was, obviously picking up on the tone of worried, lifted her head slightly to gaze at him. "You alright?" she asked quietly. "Yeah, I am fine Samui, I'm great. It's just I'm worried about Karui beating me up again if she found out about us." He trailed his fingers down her arm. Looking closely at her lover's face, Samui frowned, remember her fight with Karui early. "Naruto, my girlfriend is not going to know or fight you again, trust me, Karui is not going to find out about our affair," she said quietly, moving away slightly so she could gaze up at him. "Okay, I don't want another beatdown or worse she will kill me." Naruto sighed. She didn't say anything for a moment, she just gazed at Naruto with an expression on her face before settling back down against his side. "Baby," she said, gazing at him. "Trust me, Karui will not know about us. She thinks I'm out shopping tonight." Calming down a little, Naruto knew Samui was right. Naruto rolled over, so he was on top of her again, and Samui giggled, her fingers twisting his blonde hair as she gazed up at him with deep love. "You were handsome on our date tonight," she smiled, running her fingers through his blonde hair, and Naruto smirked, leaning forward so his lips caressed against hers. "I did look good wearing that suit, Samui." He smirks as he could stare into her beautiful eyes. "I feel like my life changed since the day I'd met you aside from when Karui beat me up. I'll never think I would feel this way about someone again when Ino broke up with me last year." Samui stared at him. "I did see Ino was all over you last year, Naruto. Is Ino still causing trouble after you two broke up?" Samui asked. "All the time." Naruto rolled off of her, so he lay beside her, facing her while propped up on his elbow. As the blonde smile widened, should he tell Samui he had with Ino? But why should that matter? He and Ino were over. It should stay in the past. But let's forget about the past with Ino. "I also realized something else, Samui," he said, taking her hips, so she was now on top of him. "What you realize, Naruto?" she asked seductively, leaning down, so her soft lips brushed against his. "I want round 3 of, but this with my clones." "Poof," Naruto shouted before all 2 of his clones self-entered in the bedroom surrounded Samui, who all of them leaning down and capturing her lips in a passionate kiss. Samui kissed all the clones back, her fingers into the two clones' body, grinning as the clones pull her in a DP position, and then she turn her head to give the real Naruto a blow as she gasp, feeling two clones enter her. Oh yes, with Naruto clones is the best, don't stop. She screamed with her mouth on the real Naruto. Late at 10 p.m., Karui was showing her dark body and her strap-on was around her waist. She was waiting for her girlfriend to come here and have with her. She waited and waited for the front door to open, and she wanted to pound her girlfriend on the couch, but the door never opened. Samui never came in. I can't believe Samui is still out at this time of hour. Damn her. I'm horny. Karui gritted her teeth and gripped her fist by getting off the living room couch, causing her chocolate to bounce. Karui was beyond furious because her girlfriend never came back home as she punched the front door. Back with Tenten. Fuka grabbed Tenten's legs, opened up the legs wider, and gently kissed the inside of the ninja girl a thigh as she pinched her nipples. Twisting the ninja girl, when a scream of moan came out from Tenten's mouth. Oh my Tenten breathed and eyes popped open, and she was pulling on Fuka hair as the villain gripped her thigh and went to work on her wet more and more. Her were super wet. Then she felt Fuka pushed her legs back until her knees touched her chest as Fuka sliding her tongue up and down around her lips, gently teasing her entrance and gently continuing eat her wet without stopping. Tenten screamed loudly in the female villain lair. Oh, yes, so good. Karui looked up at her girlfriend who came home from finishing shopping, who Samui told her the shopping went good, adding the dark-skinned girl to gives her girl a weird look at Samui came over, putting her arms around her, giving Samui a few kisses on the lips. Samui's heart drops as she looked at her girlfriend kissing her. Karui could never find out about her affair with another man. She was afraid of what she would do to Naruto again by beating him up, or worst, kill him, and will be mad at him for sleeping with her. Samui would never let that happen. Karui will not find out about her affair with Naruto. 2 seconds later, her cell phone rang. She answered it from her purse, which leaves Karui chocolate body. It was Naruto. Her lover was calling, panicking. The blonde girl excused herself from the room and announced a call from Raikage. Samui answers her phone. Hi Samui, you forgot your bag in Hidden Leaf East. My bag? I have my purse. She whispers. Not your purse, babe, your black bag when you wore that hot sexy dress on our date last night. Oh, I thought I'd left something. Do you want me to drop it off at your home? No, I'll come over. Say in 30 minutes. Okay, bye. Just his scream was approximate too loud, affecting Samui to hang up her cell phone, strolling back into the bedroom to see a Karui with her strap on around her dark waist. So, what do A-san want? Honey, it's nothing important. A-san told me I forgot my bag at school earlier, Samui replied with a lie. So I'm going to go get it. You want me to drive you to our school? Karui inquired. I get dress. Thanks, but maybe you ought to stay at home with honey, I'll be back. Sure, Samui, Karui mumbled, watching her girlfriend leave the room, seeing her girl already gone. Again Karui thinks Samui was up to something. Hidden Leaf East. Naruto shifted on the bed wearing his orange pants and shirt. The blonde sighed deeply and looked at the extra-large bed, seeing his girlfriend's bag on the floor. Then he turned to the door as it eased open with a bang. The first thing he noticed, getting up from his bed, walking over, smiled at Samui, and she smiled at him too. She stepped inside and closed the door behind her. They both smirked for their reasons. The next thing Samui knew, she was in his arms, passionately kissing him. The blonde woman let out a groan as she was roughly pressed against the wall by the seal. She soon released another moan, and Naruto had moved to press himself against her, bringing up one of her gorgeous legs and hooked it around his waist. He then harshly pressed his lips against hers, forcing his tongue inside her mouth. Naruto moved the hand resting on her raised leg further up, sliding beneath the skirt off the sexy blonde woman outfit that she had been wearing when she changed after leaving to go home, breaking the kiss of a moment, Smui pulling down the top of her sleeves strapless white shirt clothes that fall on the floor, Her big were exposed as Samui ran her hands up the back of Naruto's shirt, lifting it over his head and throwing it on the floor next to her shirt. The blonde woman pressed her bare big against his chest as he ran his hand from her shoulder down her arm and backed up her side, stopping just short of her right as her hands worked at his belt buckle as his fingers gently touched her. He kissed her again, rolling her nipple between his fingers. She opened his belt, discarding it on the floor with the rest of their clothes, and reached down to cup his hardened through his pants. The seal again, squeezing her big and calling out her name, unbuttoning his pants and earning short work of them. The two secret lovers stood for a few seconds, with Samui black thong and his spotted boxers, staring into each other's eyes with love, Samui hands moving to Naruto neck and his to her waist, picking up his woman. Her arms wrapped around her boyfriend's shoulders tightly as he carried her while kissing her. Naruto walked off and, before setting Samui down on the hotel bed, and he closes the door shut behind them. Samui woke up with a smile. She was still from the previous activities. Her body still tingled with the memory of the fantastic they had shared seeing her bag on the floor. Her body was still on in pleasure, the touch of Naruto hands fresh in her memory. The sheets on the hotel bed smelled like him. It was more than enough to make her want him again. The blonde woman raised an eyebrow skeptically. Her man was not in bed when she looks in the open door, pulled on the robe that left her bag open and tiptoed out of the room. She was walking up behind him in their hotel kitchen. Her arms wrapped around Naruto's waist, and she pressed her cheek against his back, closing her eyes and sighing deeply. Her lover was cooking ramen noodles. A shy smile was on the seal face, feeling Samui's hand traveled down to his thigh, just barely brushing across the front of his boxers. Finally up Samui, and oh, while you were sleeping, Karui called your phone 3 times, giving you a message, saying where are you baby I want and need you. Naruto offered and glancing at her casually. Samui sighed, running her hands through her long blonde hair, a little nervous, trying not to care about Karui. I see, Naruto. I don't care about my girlfriend anymore who she hurts you in the past. She arched an eyebrow with a wink, watching him closely cooking noodles that were done. Okay, anyway, are you hungry for noodles baby? Oh, I'm hungry, Naruto, but not for noodles, Samui said, seductively brushing her fingers across his manhood, then letting her robe fall away from her body. Oh I see. The seal eyes look at Samui big and body. Turning her boyfriend around, so they were face to face, Samui wraps her hands around his back and kissing him with all the passion she felt for him. Before they were about to go forward, a noise came from Naruto's phone as he pulled out his phone out his pocket. Granny, what's up? He turns on his FaceTime, only showing his face. With a smirk, Samui got down on her knees and pulled his boxer down as she went. His erection sprang forth out. She placed a hand around the base of his, causing Naruto to in his breath and release it slowly. Samui smirked up at him and slowly slid her mouth around the head of his and hard. Brat, Tenten is in trouble. Granny, why would you let Tenten go fighting a bad guys alone? A strangled moan came from his mouth as Samui's tongue moved in around the brat, because I thought she was ready for her first battle. Well it looked like she wasn't since she in trouble. Naruto asked, and Samui's mouth opened as far as it could go. It only allowed her to get halfway before she had to stop and work her way back up. As Samui did so, and led her tongue slowly from side to side until his head was out of her mouth. Licking it in a circle, she gripped the base of him and started working him at a slow pace. Naruto closed his blue eyes and let his head fall back. It's my fault okay. Okay, Granny, I'll forgive you and let that pass. Grabbing a fistful of blonde hair, and Samui opened a little further. Anyway, who taken Tenten? He watched Granny face got slightly worried more. I just got her information, she went to stop Fuka. Granny, not her, Fuka is a freak villain and way too dangerous for Tenten to face. The blonde gave a glare at the FaceTime. Ah, look, I'm sorry brat, but go save Tenten. With that, the FaceTime went dark. Stopping being mad at his granny for a minute, Naruto let out a grin when Samui felt her mouth leaving his, and she looks at him as she licks her lips. Her eyes had a grin as she said, "I can't believe I'm saying this, go save your friend, baby." "I will, baby, time for me to be the ninja and save my friend from Fuka." The blonde grin. Seated in a red chair watching Fuka working on a new spell to take over the hidden leaf, Fuka took a long sip of her beer as she smirks at Tenten tied up to a pole. "Let me go." The ninja girl beauty scream. "Hey, quiet down, I'm working here on a spell, I will have more time with you later." Fuka walking over to Tenten, kissing her on the lips. "Ew, nasty." Tenten groans out from the kiss. "That's not what you say last night, my pretty, remember you'll scream my name when I eat your." Fuka announced. Tenten frown, remember she enjoys Fuka lips on her. Flashback. Fuka tracing an invisible line down Tenten torso. The further she went, the louder the whimper came from the ninja girl. It wasn't long before Fuka had reached the girl intimate meet, Tenten flat on the bed and Fuka head level with the ninja slick wet ussy. She had her tongue along Tenten, her head drooping and exploded on her. "Oh, yes, eat me, Fuka." She moaned with her back arching and her hips gyrated forward against Fuka's mouth, trying to add more pressure and movement to her aching center. Fuka grinned and proceeded to repeat her movement, this time adding slightly more pressure as she ended on the Tenten sensitive. The ninja girl body jerked slightly before grinding against Fuka's face, her legs spreading wide as she begged for more. Fuka could only smirk in response before slipping her tongue into the ninja girl, her hands touch on the insides of Tenten's thick thighs. She set a move pace as she took her tongue from Tenten's writhing form. The ninja made few noises and she came on of her release. Fuka slipped her tongue from the pretty entrance and flicked the little pink over it until Tenten came with a soft cry of pleasure. Her back arched off the bed in the intense moment of pure pleasure and her fingers tugged and twisted in the soft messy locks on Fuka's head and she made her had a orgasm, licking up any juices that had came out. "Oh God, Fuka, that was good." She came with a soft moan to rumble in the back of her throat when Fuka had finished up with her licks and crawled back up the length of her body. "You're my new taste, since Naruto not with me," Fuka whispered with a tease, pressing a kiss just below Tenten's ear. "PFF'd whatever, I feel good being lick." Tenten moaned to herself. "What I am thinking, liking Fuka eating me out," she thought and wrapped her arms tightly around the older woman's body, her chest heaving as she continued to catch her breath. She moans feeling Fuka's soft hands grasping around her shaft and she starts to stroke her at a medium pace, feeling how her nipples get big and twitchy it felt. Tenten was wet. "I did a good job making you feel good, now let's try this again." Fuka smirked and went down as Tenten moaning and biting her lower lip, feeling her being licked again, she moaned more and more. "Ah, on my yes more, on." Tenten moaned as her facial expression changed every second, clenching the bedsheets with all her might as Fuka pushed her lips into her harder. The way Fuka head went in her puss feel good, she had amazing tongue felt around her, and her hands slowly groping her testicles. "Aanhhnhn more Fuka." Tenten scream. Flashback end. "See, you like me eating you out, but don't worry, my beauty ninja. Everything will be fun again once I'm done." Fuka whispered as she began to grip Tenten's butt from behind with her hand, causing Tenten to turn red as she then up to capture the sexy ninja lips, this time in a hot kiss. Her fingers twisted in the ninja as Tenten kissed her back with great force, the entire lower half of her body pressing against Fuka's body flesh. Their lips came together as Fuka hands still on the girl butt that went further south, down her legs hard and, Tenten moan, hips bucking upwards, and legs closing in around her as Fuka spreads her cheeks with her hands. A wave of pleasure and happiness comes by Tenten. "Oh," Tenten moaned softly, her back arching slightly off the seat. Her causing her cheeks to clap around Fuka's hand, who she finger her inside her pants. "Don't stop." Then a loud bang came from the door. Smash. A door was destroyed in Fuka's lair, stopping Fuka's sexual act on Tenten's body as the ninja huff out a moan, breaking out her kiss on Fuka. "Naruto, Finally, you show up. Tenten sighed, happy, breathing heavily, feeling a hand let go off her butt. Hey Tenten, you okay? Naruto asked. Tenten smiled weakly at the blonde, with a flushed red face. Yeah, she breathes out, slowing. Ah, Naruto is here. I miss you, cutie, ready for another kiss. I can have you now. Fuka said by licking her lips, grinning at Tenten's flushed face. No Fuka, my lips are not for you again. Ah, I'm upset. She grinned, winking at him and then at Tenten. Tenten looked away from Fuka, who fluttered. She started to like girls, even it was gross and wrong on what Fuka did to her, as she saw Naruto and Fuka started fighting. Naruto charged, he started after Fuka, and the older woman aimed for his head with a hand punch. The seal blocked and fights back with backflips and kicks. Out of the corner of Tenten's gray eye, she saw Fuka charged forward at the blonde seal. Naruto, to your right, watch out, Tenten warns as he looked towards the sound. He saw Fuka, who was previously armed with her bat. He grinned and, with the flick, he grasped it out of her grasp and broken it into dust. Tenten couldn't help but grin at Naruto being a good ninja. He break the bat and kicking. She smiled. It was the second warm smile she had had all day since Fuka kissed her and eat her that made her feel good. Hold up, girl, can't think about Fuka kissing me just now, and eating me out from last night. She thought, hearing her friend taunt who she look at the other woman bounce. Don't look at her. She blushed hearing Naruto talk. Fuka, it's over. The seal grinned. No, it's not. How about I control you with my lips? You be mine. Tenten heard the sounds from Fuka, mouth open and purple power came out towards Naruto. I want her to be mine. No, I'm doing it again, which I'm continuing to stare at her. Suddenly a wail of sirens drew near. Crap, got to leave, Naruto, you are lucky I can't have you again. Fuka hissed, throwing a smoke bomb as she disappeared. Tenten and Naruto grinned at Fuka disappearing act. Naruto saved the day and saved Tenten. Naruto, you was great, thanks for saving me. Naruto untie her, who she hugged the seal. You're welcome. I'm the man, Tenten. Naruto smiled at his friend when the sirens grew louder. Naruto grabbed Tenten, then he grappled Tenten up to an open window. Somewhere in the Ino home. Mommy, a little girl voice asked with a tired look on her face, who she stopped playing with her ninja doll and looked up at Ino, fixing her makeup that cover her black eye. Sorry baby, Mama was thinking about Sakura for hitting me. I'm pissed at her. Ino answered back softly, looking at her pocket mirror, with a shaky voice before she scooped her daughter up into her lap, rocking her to sleep. Ino couldn't believe how stupid she was for not using protection when seeing Naruto last year she got pregnant. More than anything, she wanted to tell her daughter the truth about her friends at school, but her reputation will be ruined if they know that she's a mom so young. Then the whole school knew her and Naruto were together from last year, and the students knew Ino liked Naruto, but she made fun of him because Karui beat him up and Naruto wasn't a coward around her and he projected her. Fight back, but not when Karui came, he let a girl beat him up, that's why she's so mad at him. She's now mean to Naruto for a girl to beat him up, then she wanted to rub in her rival face she had with her former boyfriend, and the end Ino wasn't ready to tell Naruto about their daughter. Month later, Samui was still seeing Naruto a lot in secret, more now since Naruto saved Tenten. They met a lot in Hidden East, and she enjoyed every moment of her new love life. To be exact, she loved it. She loved her Naruto. Samui was very worried that Karui would become suspicious, and Naruto was just as concerned as she was. They knew they had been fortunate to manage to keep it from everyone for so long, but they also knew that sooner or later that their relationship would run out. It was night time, down below a simple neighborhood home of a particular dark-skinned woman. In the room was Karui, who was sleeping on her hard work from this morning at training. Karui was trying to felt her girl by her side, only for her to wake up with a start at a sound. She instantly peeked at the bedside clock, and Karui can see it was approaching 8 p.m. on a Wednesday. Yawning, Karui raised her hands to rub her eyes, looking around the room. I'm sorry. Did I wake you up, honey? Samui announced. It's okay, she says as she sits up in bed. Is everything okay, Samui? Karui got a perfect view of her girl flawless behind. I have to go out. Samui explains, staring at her with a lie. But she couldn't stop thinking about Naruto, the way he made her feel, the incredible orgasm he had brought her to, how turned on she immediately became whenever they were even in the same room. She was seeing her lover again. Something was up with her girl, and Kaori did not believe her, or if she knows that her girlfriend knows she's lying, but Karui goes with the flow. You are always going out late. Karui asks her usual question, already knowing the answer Samui gives her. You already know that answer, Karui. Love, loyalty, trust equals a great relationship and good with. Karui knew her girl is lying again. Folding her arms and she turns on her TV. To Karui, surprise, local news on their TV blared in their bedroom in front of her. Breaking news. New hero is on the rise. Naruto had bested a thug yet again. Wait, there he is. A news lady declared with a scream. So Naruto is beating up thugs. Karui sighed. How the hell could he have fight back? Karui illustrated, staring at her girl, who was distracted by Naruto walking out a famous museum wearing his mission gear holding a thug beating body. As Samui saw on her TV, people were screaming his name standing on the dark street. Hey, there he is. It's Naruto. Hey, I want his autograph. He's so sweet. Samui noticed her lover was smiling and waving, high-fiving some hidden leaf villagers. They started surrounding him. They were closing in on him. Soon they started yelling out requests. Naruto, could you sign my newspaper? A male fan voice shouted frantically. Naruto eyes widened. Yeah, just one moment, guys, I'm full holding a thug. Another voice was quickly picked up above the roar of people. Could you sign my shirt? Naruto started, sure. But guys, I have to give this thug to the cops. Hey, Naruto, could you sign my... The list went on as Samui can hear on TV with Karui rolling her eyes, looking at her secret lover. Naruto tried to give the thugs to a cop by and start signing his autograph all at once, but the group shifted around too much, then some people started to hug him. Quiet, Naruto yelled. The entire group was immediately put to silence, all eyes on him. Single file, please. After a few murmurs, the group complied. The lineup was quite messy, with a lot of whining and pushing to get in front. Another news crew starts to pull up, flashing cameras in Naruto's face causing Samui to smile as she turns to her girlfriend. Dear, about that, Samui started. I say Naruto has been doing a good job, as you can see on the news right about now. I don't like that one bit, Samui. Karui snaps again. I've told you a million times stop worrying about Naruto after I beat him up. Naruto cannot fight back, he's a coward. How is that boy can be able to beat a thug? Where I punch him senseless. Karui snaps out again. Look, Samui, Naruto doesn't have in him to fight. He let me hit him a lot, not to mention he's not a fighter. Maybe Naruto was lucky. He's just a coward, always was. Samui was trying to remain calm on her girl's hard words on her secret lover. The blonde woman let out a deep breath of trying not to slap Karui. For crying out loud, Samui said flatly, didn't you see Naruto holding a thug beating body? He'd fight back in doing an interview. Naruto isn't a coward. This is his time to shine. Samui suggested and pointed to the TV where some cops took a thug body and put him in the police cruiser. Naruto, one quick question, how does it feel to stop a thug? A news lady announced that Naruto was signing autographs. It's awesome. Karui wiped her chin as she saw Samui kick her shoes on before slowly zipped her skirt and pulled it on. They were tight against Samui, large behind, giving Karui an excellent view of her back and striking blonde hair, emphasizing her long curvy legs. Almost like she was showing off. What's going on, Samui? Karui thought, hearing her still talk. That tells you something. Stuff has changed since Naruto saved Tenten. When you didn't say sorry to Naruto after you beat him up, and of course I got worried, Karui. Samui let out. If I heard you call him a coward again, it's the couch, honey. The blonde warns with a groan. Karui nodded her girl's statements, glancing at her finish putting on her clothes as she reaches for her car's keys. Her vehicle is fixed now from the shop. She then took her wallet from the nightstand by the side of the bed. Okay, Karui says with a sigh, making Samui finally look at her. I'll be home late, Samui continuously lies. Okay, honey, be safe. Try to come home early as you can, and that would be the end of the discussion. Karui didn't know what to say. Her girl was slowly leaving right before her eyes and couldn't find anything to say. She didn't want her to leave to go out again, or she knows something was up with Samui. She tried to keep her for just another minute. She had to say something deep within her heart, to show her how much she cared for her. Samui, wait. Karui jolted from her bed as the red-hair beauty gulped once her stare met her. She was so beautiful. What is it? She asked with her hand on her bedroom doorknob as Karui stood up straight and locked her eyes once more with her girlfriend. I love you, Karui exclaimed. I love you, Samui, be safe. She expected her to say it back, to kiss her, hug her, but she didn't. Not a single smile, like not it uses to be. Okay, that's a sign that her girlfriend was acting weird. Samui, she didn't say anything, not a single sound. Do you not love me back? Her eyes look away as she frowns. She was in love with Naruto, not Karui anymore. Honey, I have to go, Karui. And with that, she was gone. She quietly shut the door and disappeared out of Karui's sight. Samui didn't even say she loves Karui back. Her last words hurt Karui. Karui wanted to cry. Karui felt so miserable as she balls up her fist. Karui lover was doing something behind her back, and she was going to find out. Karui gritted her teeth after a long minute of silence as she heard Samui car leave the driveway. Hidden East. Naruto shed the rest of his mission clothes, lifted Samui in his arms, and dropped her on the bed the second she got to the hotel. Samui yelped, but she was smiling. She pulled him close and kissed him. The passion between them was instant, hot. She could feel the sweat on her skin, ready for him to be inside her. His lips left hers and started to kiss down her body. Naruto had lust. He was only for Samui, not his first crush Sakura. Naruto loved Samui as he moved upwards till their eyes were level with each other. Condoms? He asked, his voice heavy with desire. We don't need them, baby. He frowned. What? I just took birth control, meaning I'm not having kids anytime soon. Huh, I'm confused. What's birth control? He was affecting Samui to laugh as she yanked his head down and kissed him passionately, making him moan with her tongue in his mouth and her fingers weaving through his blonde hair. My new hero boyfriend, she said just before nibbling on his ear. Her fingers trailed down his back, nails lightly dragging down his butt. Then, without warning, she pulled him into her and gasped when his entire length slid inside her in one thrust. Samui, Naruto groaned, and she felt him sweating too. Do it, she whispered. Me, my ninja hero. I need you tonight. Jesus Christ, Samui is a wild one, he muttered before slamming into her again as Samui rolled her hips up against him to meet each thrust with some delicious friction of her own while she grabbed his and pushed him into her, silently ordering him to go faster. He felt her bite down on his shoulder, though, letting his increased speed and moans wash over her. Naruto groaned as he slapped her ass and solely massaged it before yet again slapping it. Samui moaned. He picked up the speed and thrusts, rocking her. His thrusts were unrelenting. Samui was becoming a mess of sweat and pleas for him to keep going. Samui, he moans. Harder, baby, she breathed heavily. On cue, Naruto flipped over, so he was on his back. Samui gasped and put her hands on his chest as the ninja saw the hotel doors were wide open, and the TV was on, hearing a football game cheering sound from the living room TV. The Fox are about to score a touchdown. Naruto heard the announce team while he looks at his lover was moaning, riding him harder and faster. The intensity was so excellent and overwhelming, wave after wave of nearly unending pleasure taking over both of Naruto and Samui bodies. Samui thrusts began to slow as she drops on him, who groaned, and the ninja was grinning. His mouth latched onto one big as his palms held her big, squeezing the luxurious globes. "Oh, yeah, Samui," he muttered, his head falling back on the pillow. "That feel good." She laughed a little, agreeing, and then laid her head on his chest. "You're beautiful, you know that," he said, his hands moving slowly up and down the curve of her back. "And you're mine, my ninja hero," she said, snuggling closer. "All mine, Naruto. I wants another round," Naruto said, and he rises off Samui immediately, and presses his mouth against her all over again. Samui nearly saw stars again. "Holy shit Naruto," she gasps. The next day in Konohagakure Academy Ninja School, Sakura was in practicing her training move in the gym, and Naruto was a no-show while the girls practiced and even the ninja boys as well as Sasuke. The ninja classes formed a perfect high kick. Their voices thundered through the gym. Single quote, and Sakura put her place at the top of the gym kicking, raising one arm. "Go team," she said. The rest of the ninja class dismantled the kicks and sighed, happy. Ino, however, was a bit more tweet because she had to get her daughter Sai Yamanaka from daycare and Ino was late. No one has not known about her daughter, even Hamada and her family, friends. Tamari. Giving birth at home was not easy since she took a break from school months back. Her mom had helped care for her daughter Sai Yamanaka when her dad teases her that she got knocked up by Naruto. Once Ino and everyone finally finish, she started. "We've been doing this for like an hour, and I have a thing to do," Ino said with a growl. "Sakura, I have like to go." "Don't start with me today, Ino," said Sakura. "Why?" "Because I have plans," announced Ino. Everyone in the class winced as Sakura and Ino glared at each other. Sakura looked like she was too tired to argue, but a lot was on her mind on Naruto who been acting weird and didn't show up for practice too. She cannot put the finger on her friend's odd behavior as Sakura stops her thoughts she let out seeing her sensei gives her an order with a nod. "Fine," she instructed. "Practice is over for today." "Thanks, Sakura," Ino said as the queen blonde stumped off out of the gym so she can pick up her daughter from daycare. It was a slow night at a shop. Tenten was restocking some items in the dressing room as the local news came on the shop TV. Breaking news. Naruto had stopped a thug, way to go hero. Naruto did it again, Tenten said, smiling, but out the corner of her eyes, she saw a woman walk into the dressing room, closing the door, and scared Tenten a little. "Hey, girl, this dressing room is close," Tenten declared openly but froze for a moment before spinning around. Standing there was a woman dressed in purple booty shorts and a purple crop top shirt. Her hair was in a high ponytail which was tied trailing down over her shoulder. Tenten, however, knew the woman and her voice as soon as the other person had spoken. "Hey, Tenten, miss me?" "Fuka," Tenten growled, her eyes almost was in rage. "You have the guts to show up here. Leave, or I'll call security." "Honey, don't act like you didn't have a good time with me. I come back for more after Naruto free you." "You can't get rid of me," Fuka asked calmly, walking over to Tenten as she placed her hand on Tenten's thigh, and Fuka woman grabbed Tenten round butt. Then it all happened so fast. Fuka pushed Tenten against the wall with Fuka mouth and tongue into hers as the pretty woman let out a growl. Fuka started to pull off Tenten white dress until it was halfway down her arms, as it got caught on her waist. Momentarily breaking the kiss, Fuka pushed the offending item of clothing off her. Tenten's heart was pounding in her chest as she looks at Fuka went down, and her mouth moved lower, kissing her stomach. It was ridiculous. Tenten wanted to stop the villain, but she can't. Fuka's lips felt so good on her. Fuka touched her panties and began to pull those down her legs slowly. Tenten murmured breathlessly, "Wait, Not here. Shish. Fuka responded with a surprisingly genuine smile. Slowly kiss up to one of Tenten's thighs, and Fuka slid her tongue out of her mouth, sliding her tongue up, down and around Tenten's lips, gently teasing the ninja girl's entrance and gently eat Fuka. Later the same night, Naruto just got done with another mission stopping more thugs, and things are getting really hot and heavy once more as Samui and him make out fully dressed in the hotel bed. They are also interrupted by Samui's cell phone buzzing on the dresser. It was her girlfriend calling. She reaches for it, Naruto pulls her arm back. Ignore it, he muffles against the skin of her neck. Samui follows his advice as the blonde woman lets out a moan. The next evening around 5:30 p.m., Karui was sitting on his bed, thinking about her girlfriend. Eventually, she realized something wrong. The redhead began suspecting Samui of something that she never imagined could be possible. Karui trusted her at first unconditionally, until recently, the more sense her theory made. And it caused a nasty feeling in Karui's stomach every time she thought about it. Samui was doing something behind her back. Was she cheating on her? That made her girl does not love her back. Karui snorted in disgust, and then she threw a lamp to the wall that breaks. It was in the evening time, and Karui was here in her room. She knew Samui had not come back home from last night. Karui's chest jerked along with thirsty sobs that escaped her throat as she put herself on her feet and allowed her legs to carry her to the bathroom. Karui splashed her burning face with cold water, then leaned on the sink and glanced at the angry eyes of her reflection in the mirror, growing hated as if another man or woman was doing stuff to her girl. Karui would kill that punk if it were true. It took years for them to find love for each other. She loves Samui, and she doesn't love her back anymore. It took a long time for them to acknowledge their mutual affection and build the relationship they have now had since school and training with A-san, but immediately nothing, no love between two people. However, Samui destroyed it. She stomped all over Karui, feelings and dreams, crushing them to the ground in an instant with her broken heart. Something delicate in Karui's heart snapped permanently, and the place which used to belong to Samui was now empty without her by her side anymore. That much. Karui stared at herself in the mirror, biting on her upper lip. She looked in the mirror. Karui had lost. She was angry. Karui was mad. Karui suppressed another sob which tried to get away, and then looked back at herself to examine her facial features. The redhead bit her lip, staring into the mirror as she pressed her hands up against the mirror. Tears continue in her eyes. She leaned in closer to the mirror. How could you do this to me, Samui? Karui screamed, the sound scaring her even more as she continued smashing her fist into the mirror repeatedly, and she put on her shoes and left the house. Middleton East. Breaking news. This evening Naruto had stopped another bad villain of him stealing in the hidden leaf. Way to go, Naruto, you do it again. Keep up the good work. The news ladies say. As soon as the news died out, it was replaced with music. Lights shined throughout the hotel from the living room. Naruto sat on the couch. He hollered in excitement, awaiting Samui to arrive. Samui was pleased that her man is kicking butt in mission, so she decided to give her ninja boyfriend a show on his hard work. Samui's heels were heard in the living room, and Naruto immediately turned his head as she walks. Samui's outfit left nothing to the imagination, a yellow two-piece bikini that barely even covered her nipples and wore white lace thigh-high socks that brought out her beautiful legs. She clanked every time she walked with her white heels as she walked towards the front of the living room, giving her a great view down her cleavage before kneeling over Naruto's lap. Wow, you look great in yellow. Naruto smiled, grabbing her wrist and passionate kiss her. Naruto pulled away just enough to see her big clearly, leaving his arms wrapped around her waist. I've been waiting all day to do that since the mission was over, he acknowledged, a hint of blush on his cheeks. Samui smiled back. Oh, you have, huh? How about I give you a lap dance, Naruto? She teased. Maybe that should wait, Samui. We're going out tonight. He smiled and made a motion toward her bedroom. A happy excitement spreading through her chest at the thought as she and Naruto are going out again. Maybe the lap dance can wait, and the doctor wants to have a good evening out. Well, it has been forever since we've been on another real date. After all, I need to lay off of all the with Naruto once in a while. A nice evening of going out sounds good. She mumbled. Baby, that sounds wonderful. She headed in the direction of the hotel bedroom to put on more comfortable clothes. Naruto continues to sit on the hotel couch. His arm still was a little sore from stopping a villain an hour ago after he got to the hotel waiting for Samui to come out of their room, looking at the ceiling, unaware that Samui was leaning against the doorframe. So ready to go, my ninja. Samui, smirked seductive as Naruto nearly jumped off his couch. Naruto gulped, somehow surviving not to pass out at the sight of his girlfriend. Samui was wearing a pair of tight sexy denim jeans, blue shorts that show her butt and long legs so perfect, and a plain yellow spaghetti strap crop tank top, low cut enough to show off an amount of cleavage. Her blonde hair was down to her shoulders. Wow, his girlfriend is hot in anything she wears, plus yellow suits her very well. He wondered. After about 2 minutes of silence, as his jaw stopped hitting the floor, his voice decided to make a response. Yeah, baby, I'm ready to go. The blonde asked as he pushed himself up from the couch. He had tried not to rip off her clothes again and do her as he stares at Samui and they need to go out. Had his voice not decided to crack at that precise moment? Oh, the objectives were on sexual ideas. Samui smiled by doing her best to ignore the sudden herd of butterflies doing in her stomach. Oh, get a grip, she commanded herself. You are not going to get caught. Another date is nothing to get nervous over. We are two people going out. Samui answered to herself, leaving the hotel with Naruto follower suit in the parking lot, retrieved her car. The two got in, turning the engine on and heading for the road. 1 hour later, the ride to the restaurant district took about half an hour to a ninja game restaurant shop. You've got to be kidding me, Naruto, Samui said and ran her fingers through her blonde hair. You had me drove all this way in the land of Wave to a ninja game restaurant shop, a kid restaurant for our date. I should just give you the lap dance instead. Naruto just laughed at his girlfriend. He'd had a feeling her reaction would be like, baby, not just a kid's restaurant, it has all ages from teens and adults, he corrected, getting out of her car. And have ninja games, we can play after we eat noodles. It was my idea to let you drive hours away from the hidden leaf, so you'll don't have to worry about Karui or someone who knows us. He added, glancing around the ninja game restaurant shop and saw her pout a little by folding her arms. Good thing you're so hot, Naruto. I cannot stay upset with you. Samui teased. As much as she hated to admit it, Naruto had a pretty good point. Teens and adults were here to eat, so that leaves Samui to have a good time, but she still need to be careful because she is still in relationship with Karui. Doing her best to keep her compunctions, Samui followed her boyfriend to the restaurant's entrance. She braced herself and Ron opened the door for her. Ah, after you, Samui. The blonde ninja sighed happily with a wink and holding the door open and let his secret lover in ahead of him. Why thank you. Samui winked back by walking in, adding a shake to her hips causing Naruto to stare at her butt. Holy crap, Samui has a nice big booty, believe that, I'm a lucky dog. The blonde grins with a thought, watching Samui walk, and she can pull off her sexy blue denim shorts well. Some men were drooling, and their eyes fixed on Samui the whole time. The other two men blushed on their booth, watching Samui walk and glance towards her. Naruto was jealous of the men and teen ninja boys from Land of the Wave was checking out his girlfriend. Samui clanked every time she walked with her heels as she walked towards the front of the counter. The guys roared, causing Naruto to ball up his fist as she approached the counter. Woo! A guy gawked at her until Samui noticed that he had been staring at her. He turned his head away as soon as she looked at him, rolling her eyes. Raising an eyebrow, she minded herself to the counter with Naruto by her side. The other guys turned towards his friends. Did you guys see that hot blonde hair beauty? Yeah pal, I'm going to ask her to come over here, he said, getting up. Seeing Naruto and Samui reached the counter to order. Good evening young men, what can I get for you? A cashier greets them from her desk. Hey, Naruto said, looking over her name tag. It read Sarah-san. Lovely evening Sarah-san, he greeted nicely, resulting in Samui and the lady to smile at Naruto kind words. Me and Samui like 2 noodles and soup with some ninja game tokens. Right away sweetie. The cashier rang them up and dropped a bag of tokens into Naruto's hand. Hey there, sugar, can I take you out sometime? A strongly built man approached her seductively. Samui turned around, spotted a handsome guy with muscle wearing a tight muscle shirt. Samui protested firmly as the guy leaned in further, pushing him away with a hand on his chest. That's a no, is not happening, you're not exactly my type, Samui said. This is unbelievable, he declared. What's a guy got to do? Is it because I'm not pretty enough? Samui narrowed her eyes. Pal, leave her alone. Do you see we are here to have a good time? Naruto spat. He examined the men. This your girl, loser. You look like a loser to be with this hottie. She is way out of your league. This guy had way too many beers and needed to calm down for hitting on his secret lover. She's with me. Hottie, how'd you like to ditch this loser and come party with me? Hey, I'll say back off now. So I'm going to ask twice, and is there a problem? Naruto asks again, an eyebrow up, balling his fist and glimpsing of 2 guards walking up to them. No problem at all. He back away. It's okay Samui, he is just leaving. Samui looks directly at Naruto, smiling at his bravery, and the guy leaves. No need to worry. I'm gone. This fine lady obviously doesn't need me, too busy hanging out with a loser. Hope to see you around soon, dude. Not. Naruto glared at him. Naruto, that was very sweet of you. On what you did you protect me? Well, nobody hit on my girl. Naruto said in her ear, smiling at her. When we leave from this plane, Samui grinned, peeking at the state of his pants as well. I'd say I'd help you with that, but you're gonna have to wait until at least we get to the hotel after this date is over. Just a little bit of patience and I'll make it worth your while, baby. Samui said in whisper in Naruto's ear, seductive. The ninja grins, happy and letting out a cheer. I'm going to get more tickets, then we can eat noodles and have fun. She finished with another grin, taking their bag of tokens from the table, and she tossed her head back to look at him, gave him a wink and walked forward. He had one thought as he ran to catch up with her. What did you to her? A moment later, and the 2 lovers spent the next several minutes audibly enjoying their food, trading warm glances, and engaging in pleasant small talk. The rest of their dinner passed easily, each of them trading stories, and the 2 finish eating their noodles and play some ninja games. Samui managed to earn more tickets from the ninja game machine than Naruto did, but she had also set a new high score. 300, the high score read. I lost again, the ninja said with a chuckle, but the blonde can't help but stare at his beautiful blonde girlfriend in front of him. She was having a good time. You know, Naruto, Samui teased, waving her 300 tickets in hand. I could teach you a thing or two of playing ninja card games. I used to play when I was younger. I still got it. Hold the phone, I need a breather. I'm beat, he groans, whipping his face from sweat with his shirt. Samui laughed and pulled him on to the next game before he had sat down of tiredness. As Samui dragged him towards the bowling alley, and Naruto felt worried that he would lose again. He'd planned on impressing her with his fantastic ninja game skills, but Samui was winning. How is this possible? Naruto was the only one that was very good at video games, but somehow Samui is a master of ninja games. Naruto groaned watching Samui score another strike, but couldn't help staring at her beautiful legs and butt. The night wore off and Samui wins the games. Victories for Samui on the games of winning though the night, and Naruto did manage to pull in a few on the straight 100 tickets video 9 games. Between rounds they needed a break of tiredness and they would wander back to their booth, and Samui was having fun on her date as she let out a smile. Samui was having more fun with her secret boyfriend than Karui, who she was in love with Naruto. In Karui house. Karui was drunk and completely out of her mind when she returned home, practically shouting and laughing without worry. When her phone rings, she quite nearly knocks the bottle of whiskey over. She fumbles with the phone, picking it up. She manages to get it right and presses the phone to her ear. She had hired a detective early today when he left home. Karui, are you okay? Fine, she says, making a conscious effort to speak normally. You don't sound right. You were normal when we talked early at the bar. His voice was strong over the phone. Are you still drunk? The redhead laughs. I'm fine. So are you in on what we talk about? Yes, I will investigate on your girlfriend Karui when you had hired me your assassin. Zabuza said on the other line by holding his long sword as he put down a photo of Samui showing her blonde hair and face wearing her ninja clothes, smiling as he saw his lover on the bed with his long black hair down his knotted shoulders. Don't do anything stupid when I tell you this, with all the sign you gave me. Karui the smiling and lying. Samui saying she had to go out late. Those are signs that your girlfriend is cheating on you. I think she is seeing another guy. Karui puts down the phone on her table hanging up on Zabuza, who she laughs once and then pulls the bottle over by putting it to her lips. She drinks and walks over to her coat closet and opens it by taking out a bat and hold it, who looking to her front as the redhead smashes a picture of Samui on the wall by the front door.